What is up, everybody? We are live. I'm here with Josh Lambeth. I'm saying that right, Josh?
Yeah,
Oh,
close enough.
yeah, close
Lambeth.
enough. That's what I kind of figured. For those of you guys that have been following the builds.gg competition, I've been covering it over the last few podcasts. It's been all over social media. A lot of controversy with quite a few of the submissions within the contest that have been dealt with, by the way, in my opinion, very well by Matt. Dude, how do you say his name? Uh,
Oh, I mess
Someone
that up
called
every
him
time.
Asperger on the last podcast.
Oh,
I want to
jeez.
say Osberger.
Hey, you spelled my name wrong.
I want to say Osberger, but yeah. I mean, the competition's coming to an end. I'm here with the current first place contender. Dude, how do you pronounce your build's name?
I think Arius Lignia.
Eris Lignia. So,
Yep. Which there's been multiple people who are saying that it doesn't mean what I think it means, but everything I've finding, it's a variation of the word copper and wood. But
okay. I mean, it is the internet.
you know,
People have a tendency to say stuff
oh yeah,
like
they'll find.
that. You don't
Yeah,
know.
and they try to
Doesn't
fight over
mean what you
everything.
think it means. All
Yeah.
right, I'm just trying to organize my windows here. And I got to pull up the messages. I'm not sure. Yeah, make sure to also pull up, Josh, your or the video. Just keep it on mute for yourself. That way you could
Yeah, it should
see
be.
if there's any
You can't hear me,
messages
right?
or anything.
Yeah.
And Twitch if you want as well. Oh, the boogeyman representing Chris Stewart's here. What's up, George? Or Jorge? Yeah, we already got. Oh, Daryl's here too. You got some Aussie love here, Josh.
Sweet.
Even though I can't imagine too
Thank you,
many
guys.
people in Aussie love Americans. Aussie people do. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I love my Aussie brothers.
Yeah, I did one of my biggest jobs I ever did actually was with director of photography from Australia. He's awesome. Go Mark Toya.
Oh, well, what did you shoot?
It was for Jeep. We did a project. It was 27 days on the
Oh
road.
no, shit, that's nuts.
So yeah, it was a very long project. We drove 7,500 ish miles from New York to LA, and then also halfway across
Oh
Canada.
wow. For those of you guys
Yeah.
that don't know, Josh is what would you consider yourself? Not a cinematographer, a videographer, or both?
No, cinematographer, DP. But we specialize in specialty camera movement stuff. So instead of doing your typical obviously I shoot on tripod or handheld, but
Right.
if you're wanting to do something a little bit more advanced, we do large drones, we do underwater stuff, we do car to car rigs. I'm certified to operate cameras and helicopters and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I saw
So,
you have your helicopter's license.
well, I have a fixed wing private license. I can't fly helicopters
Oh,
yet,
okay.
but
No, maybe that's what it
maybe
was.
maybe a little later on. Yeah, I ride around in a helicopter quite often doing stuff for the news, but um, one of the news stations here. I mainly just do it because it's a ton of fun to ride around in a helicopter all the time.
I don't blame you.
But
I'd be doing it if I
yeah,
could. I guess my boss has a private jet. I could always do that.
there you go. If he needs a pilot, I'll get my 1,500 hours and then
Yeah, he just pays for the hours. He has like 6,000
there you go.
hours a year. Something about taking him
Nice.
up on his offer. I needed to buy some transcoding hours very quick. Okay, so now we're good. All right, guys. I'm gonna pull up.
Yeah, you have my last name spelled incorrectly, by
Oh,
the
what
way.
is
On the
it's? Is it?
You have the A and the E
Did I mix them?
switched.
My bad, dude.
Yep,
I told you I'm terrible with names. I feel bad for
that's all good.
Jot or Matt. So it's A then E.
Yep, Lambeth.
Oh, the beauty of setting up a live stream at the last second, literally the last second. I had this idea like around lunchtime. I'm just like, why not? It's the perfect time. Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at. I'm going to jump over to the actual site right now, which I got to correct your name on.
It's all good, dude.
Just give me a second on that. I did it on both of them. Okay, let's see where it is. That's it right there. Swap the A and the E. And if you guys are messaging right now, I'm not seeing them. I'm just, because I'm doing last minute changes, and I'm about to pull that up right now. And we're going to go through this competition and take a look at some of the current contenders, because the competition is still very much going for another, 13 minutes or so, Josh?
Something. Let me refresh. 12 minutes remaining.
12 minutes, okay. We're coming down to the wire here.
12 minutes.
Okay, let's see.
All my friends are making fun of how you spelled my last name wrong.
Could you pronounce my last name?
Nope. Oleski.
See, you already messed it up. Everyone says Oleski.
I switched the S and the
Everyone
K
does
around.
it. I switched the A and the E, you see?
Yeah, that's all good.
I'm just messing with you, man.
How do you pronounce your last
Alexi.
name? Oleksi.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude, you're up by a lot now. Yeah, over 100, well, almost 100 points. 80, 70, 78 points up at the moment. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, for those of you guys that have been following the contest, particularly over the last week or so, we've had ups and downs. Josh knows. Out of nowhere, we had that build come out of Brazil. Josh, you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's currently 10th place.
Oh, he's still up here.
Case mod.
Okay.
Yeah, Case mod, Chaplin,
okay,
Colorado.
I see what it is. And there was a lot of
Douglas
controversy behind this one recently.
Yeah, and I can completely understand why he's frustrated, but I think the part that a lot of people keep missing is it was clearly stated on day 2 of this contest that the organizers weren't going to allow any votes to count if there was a specific request for votes by somebody with a large YouTube following.
Yeah, I mean,
or
it makes
Instagram following
or sense too. I mean, I don't understand why people would think that's acceptable and how it's not considered cheating. I saw someone, I don't know if it was within Computer Enthusiasts, someone somewhere was trying to defend it, and I think you were actually having the discussion with them, and I was just blown away. I'm like, how do you actually defend that when you have a very popular YouTube channel? I'm assuming they were like a tech channel or something along those lines.
Yeah, it was something. I think they were based out of Brazil. Yeah. The company or the Facebook or YouTube channel was, but.
I mean, it's not a bad-looking build, but it's not for everybody. It's one of those things that, I mean, either you love it or hate it. There's really no in-between. I mean, it's done up well, but using a YouTube channel that's prominent in your country with 1.5 million subscribers that tells all of their followers to go vote for this guy,
it was Matt actually just commented. I know you can't see the Facebook comments right now. He just commented saying that he had 1.3 million subscribers.
Yeah, I mean that's just insane. That's not fair to anybody, because if you guys think that this was the #1 build out of the almost 3,000 entries or 3,000 plus entries, I mean I don't know what to say. But
Yeah.
that was one of the guys. There was another guy. I don't want to mention his name because it's already been resolved, but he got a shout out from a popular, somebody popular on some social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter with over 500,000 followers. And of course, everyone, people not even in the computer community, they probably don't know much about computers in general. They were just told to go out and vote,
Yeah.
and they voted. And I went into that build, which popped out of nowhere. I think it was on my podcast at some point this week. And I'm reading through the comments, and every single comment is, I was sent here by so and so. I was sent here by so and so. It's like, okay, well, did you even look at the other builds within the contest? I mean, how are you voting for
Yeah.
this if in saying it's a beautiful build, it's your favorite one, when you haven't compared it to any other build within the contest?
Yeah.
So why people would argue with that's beyond
I,
me.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt just put another comment up. He said, and that's something I didn't find fair either. It wasn't even about the build. It was supporting the country, which isn't right.
Yeah, that
Meant to be about the builds and having fun and building a community.
yeah, I mean,
But it seemingly got turned into a country versus country war.
slowly it did, but that's
Yeah.
done and over with. We're coming down to the wire. Let me just refresh this very quick. Josh, you want to tell us a little bit about this build? For those of you guys that aren't familiar, which I'm sure you guys all are, with Josh's build, it's this massive,
Yeah.
massive desk build. It's not just a desk build. The desk itself is the computer. The computer isn't built into the desk. The desk is the computer. I've never seen anyone incorporate this kind of setup.
Yeah, I think, I had seen some desk builds in the past that were just definitely different. But at the same time, I wanted to do something that I had never seen done before. Your typical computer desk build, when you tell somebody you're doing that, they see, a standard looking box looking desk with a piece of glass over the top, and the
Yeah, the
computer's just
traditional
set right into it.
third-party variants that are available today. I know Lee and Lee makes one. Several other companies make them. But
Yeah.
yeah, yours is just something else. Let me scroll through some of these pictures. And how many hours did it take you? I know you mentioned it was in the hundreds.
I honestly have no idea how many actual hours I put into it. But
Roughly.
I was working on it roughly between 3 to 5 days a week for 10 to 15 hours a day for almost 6 months.
So that's a build.
Yeah,
that's dedication.
Yeah. The main reason why it took so long is I had never welded anything before or sweated copper pipe before. So I have a really good friend. His name's David Hughes. He owns Hughes Manufacturing, and he has just this massive shop. And I kind of started telling him about what I was wanting to do and asked if he'd be interested in helping me, figure out how to do this thing and, teach me how to build it or how to, weld and sweat the pipe together and, that kind of stuff. And he was very much gracious enough to say yes and put up with me taking over literally half of his shop for almost 6 months while I put this thing together. And we ran into so many different things of trying to figure out how to make it work correctly, different ideas here and there for different things. And, there's a lot of guidance and stuff from him on this, but, definitely couldn't have done it without him. And every time I've tried to give him money for his time in his shop, he keeps not taking it. So I need to figure something out with that.
Well, some people are just that generous. So it sounds like a good guy, and clearly he taught you a lot, because I saw that post earlier that you made, well, a comment in that long thread that I posted last week, directed towards Matt. And you are a humble person. You're probably the most humble person in this contest, in my opinion, as far as those that I've interacted with. Hey, what's up, Elvis? To you, I know it's not about the money. It's not about being first place.
No.
from the very beginning, you just wanted it to be fair. I mean, that's the impression I got
Yeah.
from you from the get-go. And
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted that. It's me personally, I couldn't, all these people who were, whether or not they're the ones trying to get the fake votes or whatever themselves, or if it's somebody else, but if you were actually the person who was trying to get your own fake votes, and then like say they won, say these guys like Matt and everybody didn't go through and clean all that up, if you just, I don't know how those people can sit and feel like, yeah, check this out, I won this contest, but inside they know that they either paid somebody for a bunch of votes or whatever. I don't know.
yeah, and a huge shout out to Matt and his team for
for
locking
sure.
that down. I mean, that I don't know how you guys did it, but you guys managed to catch a lot of these guys early on. And fair play,
Yeah.
guys. That's how you run a competition. I know this was you guys first. For any of you that aren't aware, this is the very first competition that they're putting on. And I would say in the end, they worked out all the minor nuances of having to put on such a worldwide build competition and dealing with those types of issues, because you always have those people that they'll do anything to win. It doesn't matter what they have to do, no matter what the cost, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So props to Josh and his team for handling that very well.
Matt and his team. I'm not part of that team.
Yeah. You are not part of the team, despite what somebody might say.
Yeah, no, it's always funny because, just as soon as like this last time they cleaned out all the fake votes and stuff, it was actually quite entertaining to see how quickly everybody was like pointing at, oh well, the new number one, he's got to be cheating somehow, just haven't been caught yet, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, it just how people can't appreciate the work and effort that went into this, the fact that you actually had to learn, in a sense, new trade skills. I mean, you can make money with the skills you learn making this thing and build this.
You know how many people have asked me to come replumb their houses now?
I read some of those. That's hilarious. But
and I have zero desire to do that.
You can. If you want to quit your day job. But personally, I would rather do your day job.
For sure.
Right now?
No, it was really funny just because they
1 minute.
A ton of people. Yeah, 1 minute. And there's actually been a move in the last 3 minutes. There's a new second place guy.
Oh, really?
He just passed.
Oh, Frost just passed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Frost Edge just
I
got
actually
passed.
really like this dynamic build.
I do too. It's very clean, and my favorite thing is like a lot of these builds, and I think even the Frost Edge and Axar, none of these top ones are RGB monsters.
Yeah, that's what
no
I
offense to anybody
love.
who has RGB cases, but I can't stand RGB like that.
I like clean and well done and well thought out. Like these bends are beautifully parallel to one another. I mean, just every last piece is just so clean.
Yeah, Drew, I know how to solder, but soldering copper pipes is a whole different deal. And actually, that was one of the big things that we had to figure out, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the Linus Tech Tips video where they did the whole room water cooling and how badly that ended. So like a ton of people during the build process of this, once I started saying what I was doing with it, they it's like, well, it's never going to work. You're going to have a bunch of corrosion issues and whatnot. Have you seen this video? And so I started actually doing a bunch of research into it as to why they may have had those issues. And we found out that one of the biggest culprits is when you solder or sweat together those copper pipes, it actually builds up a whole bunch of oxidization instantly inside the pipe around the joint. And it is in the form of like this black, flaky, just byproduct, I guess, of the sweating process. So I started talking to some people about, what can we do to try to fix that? And we decided that using pure nitrogen and like flushing pure nitrogen through the pipes while we're in the process of soldering it resulted in a perfectly clean inside of the pipe. The only thing we had to try to get out was a little bit of the flux from the that we had to apply to the pipe for the solder. So it made the cleanup process way easier than trying to do it without that. But the whole having to add the new extra step of purging it with nitrogen as we were doing it, just it took so much more time overall. We ended up, I figured it'd probably take me 2 days, maybe 3 days tops to do all the copper pipe work, and it took me almost 2 weeks. It was just a massive, massive project.
And well executed, man. The hard work did pay off.
Yeah.
You said that thing was what, 450 pounds dry?
So just the steel frame, not including the wood or any components or the metal, is like 425 pounds. So the I-beam is 18 pounds per foot. And then, so yeah, we have it estimated out to about 425 pounds.
Oh, no, they won't let me look at any more of the builds. I think they...
Is it officially done now?
Over.
Ended 2 minutes ago, yeah.
Well, congratulations, Josh. I still wanted to actually pull up a few more builds before it ended. I shouldn't have... I should have just pressed a different button. I think I pressed the wrong...
Oh, wait, scroll down a little bit. I think there was a button. Oh, it says the ranking. And if you click on the ranking, then it brings right there. It's under method 1. So I know there's a delay that I'm looking at on the
delay. Is it on the bottom of the page or the top of the page?
No, it's still top of the page.
Okay.
So it says the ranking, and then method 1, method 2, method 3. So right where it says method 1.
Ranking. Okay, so I must have just minimized that, guys. I'm sorry. Usually when I'm looking at this page, I'm doing it on my cell phone. So, well, aside from the recent podcasts. But yeah, it's officially...
It looks like Frost Edge and the dynamic one actually tied the exact same number of votes. But I believe the Frost Edge is not going to be counted from what I've heard.
So it was Frost Edge. It is a beautiful build, though. Very well done.
It is. You did a good job with it.
Yeah, so he's respectfully bowed out early on because he was out of the country and wasn't able to provide proof photos at the moment of his build.
Yeah.
Well, here's all the parts.
So it looks...
I want to see the complete build. Oh, there it is. That's a nice looking build.
It is. It's very, very well executed. One of my favorite things that I like to look at, when there's people are doing like straight edge type piping stuff, is to see how actually straight it is. Because I've seen so many of them where they've tried to do straight stuff with their piping, but it doesn't actually come out straight.
Yeah, ironically, I've never done a hard loop build. I've only ever done soft loops, and it's been years since I've done that. I would be anal, to put it lightly. If there was any bend in the line, I would probably just throw it out and start over. Like, I mean, if anything was just not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done... My previous system before I did the desk was a hardline build, and that was the first ever hardline one I did.
You sold that.
It was. I did, yeah, to a good buddy of mine actually here in town. So.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous build as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess congratulations to you, of course, Josh. Big congrats.
Thank you.
In my opinion, you definitely deserve the win for this. I mean, it's not to say that, it blew everybody out of the water, but to me it stood out the most. It obviously took the most effort and dedication. I mean, I doubt anybody else spent so many man hours and learning new techniques, trade skills to build their PCs. But in big props to, of course, second place would be Dynamic, right? Officially.
Yeah, and I think according to what I was reading, all of these it won't none of this will actually be official for about a
Right, because
week.
they need to have the proof and everything. But as of right
Yep.
now, at the end of the contest, it is you in first place, Dynamic in second, Axar, who was actually he was in second place for a little bit.
Yeah, and then it was XR and that case mod and one of the other ones. I don't remember which other one it was, but they kind of they all jumped like really high in votes 2 days ago or a day and a half ago, and then dropped a little bit after they went through and took away other votes.
It's
So
definitely an interesting build.
yeah, I do like
Is
it.
that a custom
Yeah, I
case?
think yeah they built everything from scratch.
That's cool.
And the cool thing is like that top piece moves up and down automatically depending on
Oh,
how
okay.
hot the system is
Gotcha.
running.
So it encloses it in the
Yeah, so when it's
glass.
off, it sits down, and then when you first turn it on, it like raises up just a little bit, and then as it gets warmer, it opens up a little bit more. So they definitely, it's a pretty sweet deal. That's the one actually. I believe it won the Case Mod World Series um, competition
Okay, and
earlier.
the other one, was it the second place winner? Didn't he win some kind of competition recently? Or one of them that
Oh,
was
I don't know.
in the running within the last week.
The dynamic one?
I'm not sure which one it was. There's so many that ended up in like the top three over the last week or so. It was back and forth. Robo Roan unfortunately came in fourth, well, fifth.
Yeah, that one was cool too. Um, I think he didn't complete that build. I don't think until just within the last
Oh,
week.
so he
So
entered
I
the
think
contest pretty late.
had he entered it at the very beginning, I wouldn't have been surprised if that one actually won overall. Just because they did a pretty cool build on that one. Especially because like the whole thing moves. Like that's what's kind of cool too. It's like the whole thing is animated.
Yeah, that's what Devin told me, or maybe it was Llama, that the whole thing is actually functional as a
Yeah.
robot.
If you on their post they have a video of it, you can click on there and it shows like the guns moving around and like it kind of pans back and forth and it has these little piston looking things moving up and down on it.
Yeah, let's see if we could stream that. I don't know if we're gonna get sound because I don't know if I set it up for that. Oh,
Theirs looks just as bad to try to move around as my desk does though. I can't imagine that thing being light.
no, that thing is definitely not light. I'm assuming this link in the bottom that says link text. I want to see. Yeah, let's open it up in a new tab. Yeah, that's it. See, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to actually get sound going through there, but
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it has sound either, but
that is cool. Oh wow. Someone wrote, as cool as the Robo looks, it looks like an Asus sound card that comes with most Asus motherboards these days.
jeez.
It kind of does. I never considered that. And he's using Threadripper. Okay, guys, that's not me knocking Threadripper, by the way. I have no issues with Threadripper. Yeah, that's nuts. Let's play a quick clip of yours. For those of you guys that weren't here earlier when we were discussing, just kind of shooting the shit, Josh is a cinematographer, and the PC that he entered that came in first, the competition is over. Congratulations once again, Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah, he primarily uses it for video editing. So let's see you posted the link to your video in here, correct?
It's at the very top of my post. I also sent you a link on.
Oh, okay. It's a Vimeo.
There is a YouTube link, Vimeo link, but yeah, it's in
I
there.
prefer Vimeo, in all honesty.
Oh, same. Actually, it's kind of interesting. I was looking at the stats for the video on Vimeo, and yesterday it went like everything else before that. For the last month, it's had like a maximum of about 35, 40 views per day, and then I did a Reddit post, and it just kind of went crazy. And just yesterday, it didn't have like 4,231 views, and almost 700 more
Yeah, I
today.
saw that when I was talking to you yesterday. And
So that
people
was
that see
kind
the
of
bill,
cool.
and you didn't say, I mean, the way that you worded the post, it wasn't, come vote for my PC or my computer build.
No,
You didn't ask a single person to vote, which is kind of what everybody else was doing. And I know Matt brought this up earlier. There were some guys, I think even the guy from Brazil, someone said one of the guys from Italy who were entered in the contest, they were PMing people randomly, just spamming the link to their builds and saying, "Please vote
yeah,
for me." Like, okay, that's getting a little desperate here, and it's not really the way that this should go. It should go based off of people seeing the build, comparing it to other builds, and then making
yeah.
a choice because you could only technically vote once, right?
Once per build,
Okay.
yeah. So you can vote for as many builds as you want, but you can only submit one vote per build.
Oh,
Holy cow! It has almost 70,000 views. I just saw that on the build log.
yeah. I don't know what I just
It's
did.
nuts.
I'm just gonna go back to contests. 70,000 views on yours?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, 69,629. Yeah, and all the comments were
that's nuts.
fantastic.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my wife earlier because like some of the comments on the Reddit post was really funny. Um, what I can't tell you how many of them showed up where it just was one word of just saying like disgusting, or it was them basically saying that they didn't like it, which I don't care about. Sure, everybody's entitled to their own
Yeah,
opinions,
I mean
but if you're gonna say you don't like something, I like knowing why. But it was just funny seeing how many people say that
oh
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, it is technically. I think I was talking with Ian Duncanson the other day, and he mentioned that it's entirely subjective, and it is. I mean,
Oh, for
but if you're
sure.
being objective in the sense that knowing it's a competition and you're voting on what you would consider the best build, you should probably look through the options at hand and not just,
Yeah,
pick one, some random one.
yeah,
I mean, I've looked through all of them. I could have voted for somebody else other than Josh, but I mean, there's quite a few I like, and I'll pick them out. Metro Exodus, if anyone hasn't seen
yeah. That
this,
one was
this one's
cool.
insane.
Yeah, that one's
I'm
really
surprised he
cool.
didn't make it into the top 10. Probably because it was a theme build about Metro, and I don't know how many people like that game. But it's these little details. And I
Yeah,
think that's supposed to be a train derailing.
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, we got the stream going. Guys, with Facebook, there's Jonathan, I would have voted for you. I didn't even know you were in there. But yeah, I mean, like little details, like they got the train tracks running through the PC. I don't know exactly where it's at,
Yeah,
but I mean, just so much effort was put into some of these builds. It's absolutely insane. Only to,
yeah. The Pip Boy 2000 build was another one of my
yeah, I'm pulling that up
favorites.
right
That one was
now.
pretty
Yeah, we
cool.
were talking about that over the last 2 weeks on the podcasts. For those of you guys who don't generally watch the podcast, this is only the fourth time we're doing it. The first two were basically tests. We generally talk about far more techie stuff, more hardware and stuff like that. But this competition has grabbed so many people's attention. I couldn't pass it up. I needed to follow it. I've been following it. Basically, it started in January? It started a while ago, right?
Yeah, the voting piece has only been going for 2 weeks, but yeah, I think they started it. I don't know if Matt's on here still. He may be able to answer that. I don't remember exactly,
I'm
but
sure
yeah, I think
Matt
it's
is
January.
pretty busy now that
Yeah, that's
everything's
true.
closed down. But Matt, yeah, if you are here, let us know. Oh, Aubrey Navarro's here. How's it going, Aubrey? Her build was pretty awesome. I'm surprised that didn't make it to the top 20. But then again, she wasn't spamming it everywhere.
Yeah, I think the only thing on the Pip-Boy build that I would have done differently is they just left the GPU like stock looking.
Oh, you're talking about the shroud over it?
Yeah, like I wish they had done.
What was that photo? Maybe I didn't even pass it. I think I'm going backwards now. Well, see, no, actually, this is part of the shroud. I actually really liked this. That was a nice touch. This is the top of the...
Yeah, no, that part's cool. Yeah, but like, see how in there it looks like he actually had gone through and...
Yeah, if he modified this portion of the shroud to go, to integrate into this, I think it would have looked much cooler than leaving, the founders...
Still awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, this was unbelievable. I'm so happy it made it into the top 10 because when we first looked at it a couple weeks ago during one of my first test podcasts, I don't even think he was in the top 20 at the time.
Yeah. There's another pretty cool desk one that let me see how far up it made it. It's
I know which one you're talking about. The mahogany desk?
Yeah, that one was really pretty.
Number 16.
I saw that one. Then there was another one. It's called the Ultimate Homemade PC Desk. I like it just because they did like some lighting stuff in the legs. It has like a very Tron feel to it, which I thought was really cool.
That's one of my favorite movies, so I'm gonna have to check that out next.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Where is he? So mahogany finished 16.
You're not a stranger. Yes, Jonathan. Josh has won. Yeah, this mahogany desk is amazing. I mean, I love the wood.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, comparatively to your desk, still in the end, it's still a desk with a computer built into it. And when I look at yours, your desk is the computer. If you cut off a leg of your desk, computer's not functional anymore without having to do some rework. He could just take the whole thing apart and it's still a functional computer. So
yeah, but he put so many details into it, like all the inlay, and it looks like it should be a boat actually.
It looks like something that should be on a yacht.
Yeah,
maybe in the Masters cabin.
This one actually, I think he built it a little while ago, and there was I think it was one of the big like PC like hack competitions or whatever, mod competitions, and he actually got a sponsor to pay for him to tear the whole thing down and then ship the whole thing to the event, put it back together, and then ship it back to his house after.
Would that be possible with yours?
Sure, I just would hate to have to pay the bill for shipping this thing.
That would be very, very expensive.
Yeah, the hardest part with mine would be like the steel frame, because the steel frame is one piece now. Like there's no breakaway pieces of it.
That's okay. You just cut it and re-weld it when you get to the event. Start all over when you get it back home.
Start all over. Yep.
Which one was the other desk?
It looks like it tied for 87th place. It's on page 5.
And it was called what exactly?
It's the Ultimate Homemade PC Desk by Tenkian.
My mouse was hovered right over it as you were saying it.
Yeah, done that before. I just like the legs look. It reminds me of the thing from Tron
like things that
comes and picks a guy up.
Scoop everybody up. Yeah, that's awesome.
So
I never even saw this one.
Really...
See, that's another thing. with all these contests, it's good to go through the lists of all the people that entered. I mean, there was
Yeah.
what? How many entries in total? Does this still show that?
There's over three. There's over 3,000.
3,090 entrants.
90. Yeah.
It's a lot of PCs, guys, and I guarantee you, many of them went overlooked
Yeah.
and never even made it close to the
Oh.
top 20.
Yeah.
Llama says yours is still by far the best.
Thank you. No, I wasn't expecting this. Like, I was going to be happy if I made it in the top 10 overall for the whole thing. So,
You should be pretty ecstatic now, shouldn't you? You made it to number
no, I am.
one.
I'm super excited. Definitely excited about it. And I have to say thank you to everybody who, made an effort and a push, especially in the last couple of days on, the different groups.
Yeah, I mean,
asking.
there was a lot of professional builders
out there
that were, well, I mean, there were some in the beginning that were there supporting you, saying by far you were their choice as far as being the best build. But towards the end, they all just came out in droves that I was noticing. Stewart especially. Yeah. He didn't seem very happy with a lot of the cheating, and I don't blame him.
Again, I just don't see a need for it. It doesn't.
That's just not.
How do you cheat? And then if you win for cheating, it's like, okay, cool. I don't know. I think it just really shows what kind of a person you are if you do something like that.
I mean, it might have been the money. I mean, you do technically win some money if you come in first, second, or third, but it's a very shady practice. I wish it would go away, but thankfully Matt and his whole team handled that very well.
Yeah, agreed.
And hopefully their next competition will get more exposure because there's so many awesome builders out there. And for the record, for anybody that doesn't know, Josh is not sponsored. This is 100% his build.
Yep. The only thing I got for free out of that build, or for the build, was the steel I-beams, and I went in, planning on buying it, and then when we got to the, it's Industrial Metal Supplies here in Phoenix.
I think shout out to Industrial Metal Supplies in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah, we went in there and I was like, hey, I'm looking for some, steel I-beams. What do you have? And they're like, well, if depending on how long they need to be, we have 3 10-foot sections that are just scrap that are sitting outside. If you want them, you can have them.
Man, it's over. He's like, that was free. Gotta disqualify. Free I-beams.
Hey.
It's like saying free I/O brackets. My case was missing some, so someone handed them to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what made up for the free I-beam was the amount that this wood cost for the top. That actually caught me by a huge surprise. Because the wood actually has a backstory on it. I didn't just choose it because I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool. I was actually on a job in Africa a couple years ago, and I'd seen this small table. It was just like a little side table that had this wood on it and looked really cool. So I asked, what kind of wood it was, and it's actually from Africa. It's called African zebra wood. And I was like, okay, I'm going to build something with that at some point in my life, not really knowing what I was going to build or anything at that point.
That's the actual wood that you chose for the desk?
Yep. And so I was like, yeah, this would be a perfect, the color of it works really well with the copper of the wood, copper pipes, and then the steel. And so I was like, yeah, this would be cool. So I found a shop here in town that specialized in exotic woods, and went in and was like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Do you have it? And they said, yep, we do. And so I told him what I was doing with it, and he basically shook his head at me and he's like, do you have any idea how much this wood actually costs? And I was like, no, but based off of your reaction right now, it's not cheap. And he's like, it's not cheap at all. So I almost didn't go with it because it was a little excessive on the cost for the wood, but I thought it was just going to be too perfect, and I decided to do it. And then I got home, and my wife asked how much it was, and
You lied.
that was a fun conversation.
Did you tell her the truth?
So I told her the truth. Yeah.
Good man. Because you know she would have found out
So
one way or another. Yeah,
exactly.
it's not even worth lying, guys. For those of you who aren't in a relationship or not married, don't even bother. Oh, Matt had to go. Asperger. It's
Yeah.
not Asperger, Jonathan. I want to say it's Asperger. I think I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
But no,
congrats on
it
this
was pretty
build.
funny.
It's
Thank you.
unbelievable. We'll throw some RGB in there. I love that one shot you got right there for all the RGB fanatics. Can't live without RGB.
And actually, funny enough, that the picture, if it's the night
Yeah.
picture, like those are not even built in, or it's not even part of the actual computer. Like those are all completely independent lights. It's the Philips
That's what I
Hue
kind of figured it
light
was.
bulbs. So they automatically come on and turn
It's
off
just
like at
it's
night and in the
such a nice
morning.
picture.
Yeah. So I just have one set of the LED strips that runs along the bottom section of the desk. Um, and then the orange light like back behind the computer, and then there's another orange LED strip on the shelf off to the left. But it just gives a nice kind of glow to the room.
I'm gonna build an LN2
So
desk, and I'm gonna call you up for some advice. Don't know how it's gonna
sounds good, man.
work. Maybe I'll just actually hook
Just
up like
mount.
a 180-liter tank, like integrate that into the desk.
Yep. No, you just hang it from the ceiling and then gravity feed it.
That's 900
Just have a little
pounds.
valve
What if
right
the thing
above the
falls?
pot.
That would suck. That would really hurt.
Yeah.
Corey Runkle says, "Congrats, Josh." I'm
Thank you,
sure there's
guys.
quite a few comments with congrats. I'm doing my best to try to pay attention to anything people are writing or any questions they have.
No, it was fun. I'm not doing another one anytime
I
soon.
don't blame you.
Not
I don't think you
not this
have to.
big
You're pretty
anyway.
much set for a while. I mean, hardware-wise,
Yeah, I think.
do you have any plans to perhaps upgrade the GPUs?
Yeah, I would not mind once the 2080 Ti Kingpins come out, hydro copper versions.
Yeah,
Don't be
that'll
surprised
be
if two of those show up.
good deal. Yeah, I'm getting the hybrid models. Is that what they're calling them? Hybrid models? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, those would be pretty sweet. And then
Well, I'll just be mounting
I
a
actually
pot on them anyway,
found.
so I'm just like, why do I need the full water block?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I actually one of the cool things with Reddit and a lot of these groups actually is, you start seeing other suggestions from people of different things that they may think will enhance the look or something like that. So like one of them was a new keyboard, and honestly that's the only thing that I'm not super excited about on this build either was the keyboard choice, but at the time I just couldn't really find anything else that I liked. So somebody sent me one. This calls the ASIO Retro.
Yeah, we were talking about that
Classic.
prior to the stream.
Yeah, so this one's really cool looking. It has like a copper surround, and it kind of has like an old steampunk looking feel. And like the whole back of it is actually leather as well, from what I can read. And the best part about it is they make it in Bluetooth version, so it'll be wireless. So I get rid of the wire going across my desk. Because the wire, I went back and forth so many times on if I want to just drill a hole in the center of the desk and then run the wire underneath it, but I just couldn't take myself to drill a hole through the wood.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you don't want to put holes through that wood. I wouldn't.
No.
And there was that one guy.
So I got.
I don't know if he's watching, but he was. He wasn't giving you
thanks,
shit,
Jordan.
and he wasn't saying anything bad about the build, but he did mention, and we talked about this earlier prior to the stream as well, that the PC portion, the portion with all the hardware, should have been more of the centerpiece of the desk.
Right.
And I totally disagreed with him. I know obviously you disagreed with him because you built it this way. This was your design, your setup, your build. Now you built it by hand for this very reason based off your design. So
yeah, and I just don't even know how that honestly would have even worked.
No.
I mean, I know it could be possible, but then you'd have something sticking up back behind the
Yeah, you just
monitor or
why not
whatever.
just buy
So
a case
I
and
don't
just
know.
buy a desk?
Yeah,
And that's basically what the guy was suggesting. But it would be permanently mounted to the desk, semi-permanently.
yeah,
But it is a really clean build,
yeah.
man, and it's very unique. There's really not there's nothing bad anyone could say about this thing. I'm still in awe every time I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it on the stream on this tiny little picture, and I could be looking at it over here on this 4K TV. I'm in awe of it every time I see it. Hey,
No, thank you.
uh, shoot, where did you have um your build log photos?
I sent you a link on Facebook to like the time lapse videos that I have on
Okay,
YouTube.
let me pull one of those up.
They're for me being a video guy, they're absolutely horrible. But
Well,
I just set up a GoPro, let it go, and then
having seen
didn't
some
even
of your
put it to
recent
music or anything.
videos, I can't say anything bad about. Okay, this is gonna be cool. All right.
Curious, see which one you're pulling up.
So this is this is a full blown time lapse of you guys really building this thing. It's a little
Yeah,
different than any other build in the competition. So this will give people
yeah, it
some
was a
perspective.
little more so of a. Okay, yeah, I just started from the beginning. Yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't even think about doing a time lapse until after we built the frame. But as soon as we started doing all the piping stuff, I was like, oh, I should probably do that. And I have a bunch of still pictures of like the frame design and because what you can't see in this time lapse video is, or it's really hard. You can actually see the radiator mounts on the left, and then the beginnings of the motherboard and GPU mounts on the right. Um, like that actually took a good amount of time to figure out.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure you made a
And then,
million mistakes as far as measurements. Not a million, that's over exaggerating, but I mean it happens in these types of
oh
situations.
yeah,
And then you either cut something too short, and then you gotta redo it, or you bent something at the wrong angle.
yep.
Especially when you
Well, and the
just
hardest
learn how to
part with the
sweat and solder and everything else along with it.
yeah, the hardest part about the copper too was actually the process of sweating it together because I couldn't do it with it in the desk or in the frame because we actually did a test on it on one of the scrap pieces of I-beam, and when we started to do that, it was turning the steel frame black. It was scorching it, and I didn't like how it looked because we were actually keeping all of the rust and everything from the steel I-beams on there. We were trying to preserve that, so it's not like a perfectly clean looking I-beam, as you can see in the
Yeah.
video. So because of that, we literally put everything in there, you know, mocked it all up, and then once we got done with that, we started pulling out just small sections of it at a time to sweat it together. But we'd have it all in there, and then I'd take or for people who don't know, like the process to sweat stuff together, you have to clean the copper first in wherever you're going to sweat it, and then put like the flux on there, and then heat it with a blowtorch. And once it gets hot enough without burning it, then you can hit it with the solder um, to do that. But we built it all in the desk once, and then we had to take the whole thing apart and clean all the parts before we were ready to sweat it. Then we had to put it back in the desk again, remark everything, so we had the correct angles, and then pull it all apart again, put the flux on there, sweat it together, and then retest fit it all again. And if anything was wrong, you had to try to heat it back up again just enough to move it, and then reset the thing
So it's
again.
almost like trial and error through the entire build.
yeah, and yeah, like I said earlier, I planned on like 2 maybe 3 days to do this, and it took me 2 weeks. And then we had the added piece of it having all of the or having to flush nitrogen through those
Right.
system. So then you're attaching something else on the other side with a hose, and then the hose kept trying to like fall over and pulling on it weird, and it was just, oh, like I have a new appreciation for people who do, plumbing, this kind of plumbing work for a profession.
And for the record,
Because I have
guys,
zero desire to
Josh
do that.
is not looking for plumbing work. So don't
No.
PM him asking him to come over and fix any of your pipes that burst over wintertime. He's not in the market.
Nope.
He has a job. He's good to go. And
Yep.
you have a studio website too, correct?
Yeah, our
A
company
company
website.
for your production.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's birdseyeproductionsllc.com.
Yeah, I'll make sure to throw it. Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, guys, definitely check out some of his videos, and pretty much all the recent ones that I've seen, they were all rendered on this rig, correct?
Yeah, everything in the last couple months. Actually, the most recent video, one of the most recent ones we did was for MD helicopters.
Yeah, that video was
and
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a bunch of motion graphic stuff that we were doing where we were tracking different things inside the scene and then having text link, like basically match up to it so it moves with the camera move. And in that process, it actually was the first thing that has really taxed the system out in terms of the rendering side. So to render all of that stuff out, it actually used all 128 gigs of memory available in the system. And so a lot of people were like, why do you have 128 gigs worth of memory in there? And like, well, now I know I actually needed it.
You probably weren't even sure if you needed it. You're probably just like, just in case.
No, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Because up until that, I'd seen it go a little over 60, 64 gigs, but nothing. I think I'd never actually seen it go above like 70.
And
so I was like, well, yeah,
your
whatever.
Videos are generally in
then
5K, right?
Varies, yeah. One of our cameras will shoot 5K red raw footage, and then it'll do up to 120 frames a second at that resolution.
At 5K?
So yeah, at 5K 2:1 aspect ratio, it'll do 120, and then 5K full frame, it'll do 96 frames a second. So
yeah, that's absolutely insane. Because I know, what's the bit rate? At that,
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, my 4K Canon,
it's pretty massive.
I could get a little over 200 megabytes per second, but I can't shoot in RAW either, so I can only imagine 5K RAW.
Yeah,
that's absolutely insane.
I've kind of given up thinking about what all that is. Data rate, here we go.
Well, with that rig you have, I don't think you have to worry about it anymore.
No, it does a good job. It'll play back the 5K at full res, without an issue, and then it'll even play back some of the flavors of 8K, depending on what the compression ratio is on it. It'll play back some flavors of 8K at full resolution as well in real time. So, but actually, I've had a couple of people asking, what I'm, if I won, what I would be doing with the money. And one of them is building a new storage server because my current storage server is getting close to full, and it's only been built for like 6 months, and it's 36 terabytes RAID 0.
Good investment.
So I'll probably be building an 80 terabyte NAS server, with dual 10 gigabit connection. So, because that's actually the desk itself doesn't have any any disk hard drive like large
Right.
space storage on it. It just has two,
NVMe's or
um, yeah, NVMe's in there. So all of my files and stuff are in the storage server, and I have a 10 gigabit network connection between the two. So that's how I'm able to edit off of that.
well, I'm here hosting this
And have
stream
a
off
issue.
of 4G LTE. I bet you didn't know that. I swear to God, I live in the middle of nowhere. This is actually being streamed over 4G LTE.
That's
Well,
actually
I'm
pretty
using
impressive.
2 different connections, which I managed to get unlimited through Verizon and T-Mobile. True hotspots. One's based off of a router, the other one's based off of a mobile hotspot, and I tricked them into thinking I'm, what do you call those guys, at the Nomad. So they can't discriminate against me, so
Oh
it costs
yeah.
me $65 a month for that. That's nothing. But it works. I mean, I could actually live stream,
Nope.
but I can't
Yeah.
compete with your internet connection yet.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit not super happy with because we have the gigabit internet, but the part they didn't tell you is it's the 1 gig down, but only 35 up. So, and what I really need is the 1 gigabyte up because we have, all of my stuff on my storage server, since it's RAID 0, gets
Right.
backed up online. So I have like 31 terabytes of storage or the stuff like stored
That's
online right now,
nuts.
which
So,
all has
like,
to get
how
uploaded.
long, uh, or how large? Let's just say a 10-minute clip, just raw footage, 10 minutes at 8K 240.
I'm not sure on the 8K because I honestly have not shot hardly anything on 8K, but I can tell you
Or 5K. I'm
5K.
sorry, I meant to say 5K because I said
Okay,
240.
so like 5K footage, if I'm shooting at 95 frames a second, will fill 128 gigabytes
Oh, wow.
in 11 minutes.
That's nuts. What kind of
Yeah. So if you're doing it in like real time, so 2398 or 30
what
frames a
kind of
second,
storage media
um,
does he
think
use? I
it's
kind of figured it's
proprietary
red.
SSD module. Yeah, yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah, man,
But
you and I, we definitely have to talk about cinematography because I'm still trying to learn here, even just for live streaming purposes. Um, and of course, any of you guys that are more so into tech and stuff like that, as opposed to stuff that him and I are talking about, which I have a huge interest in, I'm still learning about. Tomorrow we will be talking about GTC and GDC, which is going on concurrently here in California. Not here in California, but in California. And we're talking about the RTX drivers being released to be to unlock essentially RTX features in games on GTX cars being Pascal and newer, among a few other things. And on Saturday, we'll be talking about just pure architecture, nerdy stuff at a low level. So don't forget to tune into that. Josh, before we.
I'm actually really curious about that because that's a really interesting
Yeah, and
development, I
tomorrow
think.
we'll have Shannon Robb. He is about on my level when it comes to nerdiness and talking about lithography and topologies and microarchitectures at a low level. So it'll be an interesting conversation, as well as Chris Hunter will be here to defend AMD. But I want to show you guys a video. Actually, that helicopter video, Josh. I'm going to go ahead and play this. So you guys get an idea of what this desk build. This wasn't built as a showpiece. This is actually used to render videos that Josh shoots for a living. So, yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy some of his work. Here it goes. I'm actually going to make us a little smaller here because I don't want to take.
Yeah, nobody wants to see us
take
anymore.
away from the footage. There's your name right there, buddy. Gotta make that smaller too because it's getting in the way. All right. And
It's all good.
so Josh shot this and edited it. Well, I can't say you shot it on that desk rig, but this was entirely edited on your desk rig, correct?
Yeah. Yep. About we did this video for him, and then we did one other video, kind of like a training overview video, and between both of them, it was about 57 hours or 50 hours of editing. It was like 47,
Wow.
48 hours of editing. So this was really cool, though.
Yeah, this
It
is
was
where
such a
the
fun,
RAM probably started to shoot
shoot.
up.
Yeah, it was all the motion graphic stuff. So you can see the different pieces of the text and like the lines and whatnot are locked onto specific parts of the helicopter. So there's a lot of motion tracking involved with it. The animations between all of it. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was a
teach
good time.
me. I'll make sure to share your link in the chat if I could figure out how. Oh, it's a Vimeo link. Never mind.
Yeah, these are all on video. And funny enough, for this video, like we had the helicopter didn't fly. Like that's one. It was a prototype, and they only had a couple months to get it to the point of where it was. So we had a pretty hard challenge. Like the client basically came to us and said, "Hey, we need a video to sell a helicopter that doesn't work yet. Can you do that?"
I think you succeeded because I kind of want one now. I have no use for it, but
yeah,
I do buy
yeah,
stuff
they're
that I truly
pretty
don't
sweet.
need.
Yeah, and so like all the monitors that are on inside the helicopter, the only way those would turn on is if you physically have it plugged into a wall, just like a 110 volt outlet. So we had anytime we wanted those to turn on, we had to run an extension cord to the helicopter.
Well, I mean, you guys, the production value on this thing is just absolutely insane.
Thanks.
I paused it by accident. That's my fault. Like these little animations, I would imagine, were quite taxing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a lot of actually the hardest one out of all of them was a little bit earlier in the video where the camera kind of sweeps underneath the tail of the helicopter and you have all the text on the right hand side and it disappears, wipes with the helicopter.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
That one I tried to motion track that one in to have it kind of do it automatically, and it couldn't mask the helicopter correctly because it was just moving too quick or something. I really don't know. And so I had to go through and do it by hand, and it was 145 frames, I think. And each frame I was moving like 20 plus keyframes for the mask, and then you click forward one frame and then remove all those mask keyframes and click forward. So like that one little section alone took almost 2 hours to do.
Yeah, we need to get you a 28 core Xeon, the 3175. I think you'll make good use of that.
Yeah.
Maybe the new SR3 Dark.
There we go. That'd be sweet.
It won't.
It's
not enough RAM though.
No, that's fine because I'm not going to be replacing this computer anytime soon. But
really
I do have,
in all honesty,
yeah, I do have another build idea. I've actually had it since almost right after completing this one, of kind of a similar like theme, just like steel and metal and wood, but just in a much more smaller, manageable size, like an actual case size. So I would like to build one of those here sometime soon.
Gotcha.
But we'll see.
Well, I can't wait to see your next build, man. You definitely did not disappoint with this one or the last one. I mean, the last one looked gorgeous too, but this one just blew my mind, and I was very surprised that initially it didn't get the attention it rightfully deserved. But it finally did, man. So once again, another big congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
And yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this. We're already a little over an hour, but we're gonna cut the stream off. Josh, you stick around for a little bit, because I want to talk with you for a second. guys, thanks for
Sure.
watching. And everybody that voted for Josh,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, well
Can't
deserved,
thank you
man.
guys enough.
And it was an awesome competition. I can't wait to see how the next one turns out.
Same.
All right, guys, have a good one. And anybody interested in the GDC and the GTC coverage tomorrow, as well as the RTX discussion and how they're bringing it to Pascal and how DXR works and all that fun stuff. We will be going live tomorrow with the podcast. I'll have a few guests on tomorrow. And Saturday, we're going to be going over CPU architecture. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. I will be posting the links, of course, in all these groups that you guys saw them spammed in, as well as Twitch. If you guys want to see in full HD, the Twitch channel is posted to every single one of these groups as well. So that's actually rendering or being encoded in 1080p 60. So, all right, guys. Josh, thanks again for coming on. Congrats.
No, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll find another topic of discussion to talk about, and we'll have you on again.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
All right, man.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Take out. See you guys in the next one.